Watch of where is closed right now, Latoya, and keeping us updated from what Metro Police are saying about these roadblocks. So not only have I been watching the map here, but we've got our crew out there on the scene, multiple reporters. We've heard from Denise Ross. We've heard Dana Wagner out there live. Dana talking about Charleston being blocked off. So I'm pulling it up here for you and showing where they are centered around right now. You got to go further out west here. So this is a 215. I-215 right there, and West Charleston, as they've got Charleston blocked off in both directions. This is where they're focused in on. I can zoom in a little bit here to show you. So Charleston right here, and this, pull it up for you, Pavilion Center Drive. This is the building they're focused on with their investigation. This is Red Rock Casino and Resort as far as where they are using the parking lot, using the resort itself, so they can get a sort of a home base where they've not only been taking in people who have been getting evacuated, who have been taken out of this City National Bank building, but also where the emergency crews have been gathering there in the parking lot. We've seen all the police activity. We've seen that things are blocked off, not only here at South Pavilion Center Drive, but east and west as well. So let me pull this up here for you as I'm tapping through what streets are involved here. Dana was talking about, when Dana Wagner was out there and we heard from him live, he was talking about South Town Center Drive with a roadblock stretched all the way this far east and all the way far as west here, as we've got where Red Rock is pulling up to the 215. So officers have that area blocked off right now, and they've had it blocked off for a little bit now, because we first got the alert of them saying that they're investigating the shooting and have roads blocked into the area around 10:36 this morning. That's when we got the alert from Metro Police, and we're learning that the shooting took place a little earlier than that on the 5th floor of this office building here, where they've got their attention focused, they've got their investigation focused here. As we know, one suspect dead here, 2 victims as well, a man and a woman inside that law office there in the building. Latoya, back to you.
Yeah, and our thoughts and prayers with their family and friends as they are starting to no doubt learn that unfortunate information. We'll continue to follow this breaking news out of Summerlin, and we'll be right back. Please stick with us for more information. We're now more than 2 hours into this breaking news situation out of Summerlin, where 3 people, including a shooter, is now dead. Apparently this happened at a law office this morning just after 10 o'clock. Our Dana Wagner is on the scene there. He's been there for a number of minutes now. And Dana, I know the last time we talked to you, you said that you learned that some prominent lawyers are perhaps involved in this. What else can you tell us about what you've been learning from the scene?
Well, I'm hearing from several sources, and now it's out there on social media, so we're just going to tell everybody this. This coming from Dana Resnick Gentry, who's a terrific journalist in our community, posting on X that attorney Dennis Prince is dead following a shooting in his office. Prince was killed by attorney Joe Houston following a deposition in Prince's office, according to a source with knowledge of the incident. We had not gotten any information like this from Metro Police, but I have heard from multiple sources that this is indeed true. People in our community may remember the name Dennis Prince. He's a prominent attorney, used to work for the Egglet law firm. And years ago, people who were around here 5 to 10 years ago will remember the hepatitis case in which a local firm was reusing vials and giving hepatitis to people through those reused vials. That was taken to court, and millions upon millions of dollars were awarded. Dennis Prince was one of the attorneys on that case. Dennis Prince was married to a young lady named Ashley, and Ashley and her ex-husband, Dylan, were going through a custody battle over a child, and it was Dylan's father, Joe Houston, who is another prominent attorney in our community, according to Dana Resnick, that actually pulled the trigger here inside these law offices behind me. So we're getting a lot of information this afternoon. We understand that Dennis Prince was shot dead. We believe that his wife, Ashley Prince, was also shot dead, and Joe Houston, they believe, was the trigger man. Again, we're not getting any of this information from Metro. I want to make that clear this afternoon, but this stuff is now being posted on social media by prominent journalists in our community. So we still have an active scene out here. There's still police crime tape in front of the building. We see numerous Metro Police officers in front of the building as well. Traffic is now flowing on Charleston, an indication that there is no active threat, something you guys have been reporting on for the last half an hour or so. But we're getting a lot of information right now here from the scene.
All right, our Dana Wagner there with some heartbreaking information, the names, at least who we believe may have been involved in this. And as he said earlier, names that a lot of people would know. Thank you so much, Dana, for your reporting. We'll continue to follow this breaking news out of Summerlin, and stick with us. Welcome back as we continue to follow breaking news out of Summerlin. Metro Police just held a briefing less than an hour ago about that deadly shooting that left 2 people dead, also the shooter, so that's 3 total. And here's what we know so far. We know that the shooter, believed to be a person who shot and killed himself after shooting and killing a man and a woman at a law office on the 5th floor of the City National Bank building. Let's go ahead and listen in to Sheriff Kevin McMahill and what he had to say earlier.
All right, good morning. My name is Kevin McMahill. I'm the sheriff of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. I'm here with the chief of the Clark County Fire Department, John Steinbeck. Wanted to just provide some information to the community on an active shooter that was called in this morning at about 10 a.m. at 10801 West Charleston. It was on the 5th floor of one of our buildings at a law office. I just want to assure the community now that we believe the suspect is deceased. We do have 2 deceased victims on scene, and there is no further threat to the community. But as you can imagine, we have a 5 or 6 story building. We have people that are hunkered down following the active shooter protocols. We're going door by door and making sure that everybody in there is okay and evacuating them. We're also working on the many victims that had been in the building. The fire chief will talk about that here in just a moment. We also are actively looking at the vehicle of the suspect inside of the parking garage at the location that we are speaking of. I don't have any information on motive. I don't have much other on the investigation as this is early stages. However, we will provide that to you, but most importantly, I wanted to make sure our community understands there is no further threat to our community. Chief?
Thank you, Sheriff. John Steinbeck, Clark County Fire Department. As the sheriff said, we still have units over there working as rescue task forces helping to clear the building. And we've moved a lot of resources over for victim services to assist with some of the ongoing needs of the personnel that were evacuated out of the building. Some of them will be here for quite a while being interviewed and so forth, and then also providing resources to them moving forward. Again, we don't have a lot of information yet, but we're really grateful to our partners at Red Rock Casino for opening up the doors there and allowing us to stage that area of refuge that will become an assistance center moving forward.
You don't have a motive, but do you know like the relationship with the shooter and the victims to that business?
We're investigating that right now, Denise. The question is do we know the relationship between the victims? And the answer is we have a theory at this point, but I cannot release any of that information until I'm confirmed that information.
Can you tell us anything about the victims? Was it a man, woman?
The question is, can I tell you anything about the victims? The suspect was a male, and the 2 victims that are deceased is a male and a female, and I can't give you any additional information than that.
Were they employees at the business?
The question is if they're employees or not. I don't know yet if they're employees or not.
Was the suspect killed by police?
We do not. The suspect was not killed by police. We believe he took his own life.
So why are you investigating his car?
Because the question is, why are we investigating his cars? Because that's what he arrived in. So we need to see if there's anything in the vehicle, anything suspicious, conduct a warrant on it. So it's going to take a little bit of time to get through that.
I know you guys weren't expecting the Monday to go like this, but what can you say about the response time for both of the departments?
So the question was if we were expecting our Monday to go like this and what our response time was. And I would just, again, this early to say, but we were here within minutes, police and fire both. And as you've heard both the chief and I talk regularly, your first responders here in Southern Nevada did not hesitate. They did not wait. They went right into the building and they took care of business. And we'll have a lot more for you on that, but thank you.
And with the UNLV shooting that happened last December, did that kind of help play a role in how you guys responded today?
Chief, you want to answer that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So unfortunately, every one of these incidents we review completely and then make improvements on our response and on our ongoing recovery efforts. So the answer is yes. Every single situation that we have.
All right, so this is the information we were learning earlier about what police knew and fire knew at the time. Since then, there has been some new information about the traffic situation related to this shooting investigation. For that, let's go ahead and turn to our Evan Schreiber at the live desk.
Yeah, Latoya, thanks so much. All right, so we just got the update from Metro Police that Charleston is back open in both directions. I repeat, back open in both directions after this investigation for this deadly shooting at that law office there. I want to show you where we're talking about here. So if you're looking at the 215, that's the 215 there. We're talking about on Charleston right now, back open in both directions because they had this blocked off since about 10:30 this morning as we've been watching the situation developing. They do have a road blocked off, and I want to show you where we're talking about here. So this is South Pavilion Center Drive. This is the law office. This is the building where they've got their investigation focus right now, where they were taking all of those people, getting everyone to safety. South Pavilion Center Drive is closed at this point in that spot, just south of Charleston right now. So back here in the live desk, we know we've been watching, right, West Charleston Boulevard and the big traffic impact. That is a major thoroughfare going east and west there through Summerlin. This is Red Rock Casino and Resort here. This is the office they're focused on right now. I've got this little pin bouncing up here for you. South Pavilion Center Drive, just that small stretch is what's closed right now. As they say, from south of Charleston on South Pavilion Center Drive, that is blocked off as this investigation continues, as we continue to keep watch of the investigation there by officers. Back to you, Latoya.
All right, Evan. So we're making some progress, at least on the traffic front. Let's go ahead and check in with our Denise Roche. She's there on the scene. We have a number of crews. And Denise, I know you were one of the first crews on that scene. It looks like things are starting to quiet down behind you now, but just walk us through what it was like when you first got there and what's happening right now.
Yeah, Latoya, I just wanted to show you the scene from our vantage point. To the right of me right here, of course, is Red Rock Casino, and the building where the shooting happened over here to my left. Now, when we got here about an hour ago, we saw dozens of people being evacuated. There was no panic, very calmly, everyone walking over to Red Rock Resort. Right now, though, you can see emergency vehicles taking over this side street, which is Griffith Peak Drive. Pavilion Center, as Evan was just mentioning, closed right in this area, heading north towards Charleston, still closed right here. Police still do tell us, so there could still be dozens of people still in the building who need to be evacuated. They were sheltering in place. So you can still see that there's a very large presence out here right now, and you are urged, of course, to stay away from this area. Latoya?
Denise, I know you've been out there, as you mentioned, for an hour now. Have you been able to talk to anyone who lives or works in and around this area since you've been out there?
No, the place that we're standing in, they did lead everyone away from us. They were in a parking garage area, and then they were led, it appeared to be inside Red Rock Resort, so that they had some place to stay. Where we are right now is simply security and police.
As someone who has lived in this community for quite some time now, here we are again with another very scary situation unfolding before our eyes. As someone who has unfortunately covered many of these events, just kind of tell us what you're seeing and how you're feeling, as these are your neighbors as well. This isn't just a story that we cover. We too live in this community.
Yeah, Chief Steinbach from Clark County Fire said it very well at the press conference just a short time ago, that you know what, we keep learning something from each one of these active shooting situations. They just learned some from UNLV and back in December. Every single time we have one of these incidents, they're learning a little bit more about the response, but it never gets easier. For the first responders that have to come out here, it is horrifying to them as well every single time. For right now, they are in let's get this taken care of mode, but once they have time to sit back and process, it's difficult for them as well. They live in this community too, just like you and I, and seeing this over and over, it never gets easier.
It never does. And we heard from John Berry, a person who also lives in Summerlin, basically echoing the same thing. Thank you so much, our Denise Roche there for us on the scene. We have several crews there. We also have Evan Schreiber at the live desk, and we'll continue to follow this breaking news. So stick with us, not only here on air, but also online at news3lv.com. We'll be Thanks so much for staying with us. I'm Latoya Silman. It is a tough start to our weekday here as we are following breaking news out of Summerlin. Police reporting a shooting there. This happened inside a business near Charleston Pavilion Center. That's where we also find News 3's George Acosta with the very latest. You were the first out there for our crew members, and it was pretty chaotic the first time we saw you. It looks like things have died down considerably since then, but what can you tell us now about where we stand with this investigation?
Yeah, well, right now the scene, of course, like you mentioned, has died down, but if you take a look just behind me, there is still quite the police presence just at that City National Bank. Again, we were told that it was at the law firm. We don't know the name of that law firm at the moment, but again, we know that at least two victims, a male and a female, are deceased along with that suspect. But I did get to talk to some people who actually work across the street who tell us that they actually were at the October 6th shooting, and kind of it's a very traumatic experience for them. Unfortunately, they did not want to go on camera with us or talk to us because of, again, that trauma. Now, another woman we did speak to, you'll hear from her later, but she mentioned that they were just all with all these buildings have large windows, so they were just all kind of seeing what was happening with the eclipse, and then they saw a lot of ambulances going around, and then of course with law enforcement. So then they were put on lockdown for about 2 hours just across the street. Again, they didn't know exactly what was happening, but as soon as they found out what happened, they said that they again felt bad for the family of those victims. But if you look still at the scene, it looks like the police said that they were looking at the parking garage, trying to find that suspect's vehicle, trying to find the motive behind it. There is no motive that we know of at the moment, but a lot of the victims have since been evacuated from the building. Sheriff McMahill, along with the CCSD fire chief, said that they were evacuated towards the Red Rock Casino. And I reached out to Red Rock, but they have not commented on this information. But a source there, one of the managers actually tells me that a lot of the people were evacuated there to the back entrances of that building, again, of Red Rock Casino, saying that the main entrances to the casinos were blocked off. We do know that Charleston has since been opened up again, but right now, we're going to be out here trying to find out more details from just neighboring businesses, neighboring workers. It looks like actually right now there is a woman coming up who is kind of locking arms with a police officer right now. We are not sure if she's was in that building or how she is tied to this incident, but we're going to see if we can try and speak with her once we get there. If we see if we can follow her, see if we can, or we actually are just going to see. Right now, she walks this way. See if maybe we can speak with her at the moment. I'm gonna go. Hello, we're Channel 3 News 3. We're just trying to see if how she's related to this. Any comments, ma'am?
Get away from me.
Again, no comments right now, but she is being escorted by two police officers. But we're trying to find out if there's any victims or people who are in that building. But we'll throw it back to you at the studio.
Yeah, you can certainly understand, George, why she would be distraught and be upset right now. No one ever wants to go through something like this, but sadly we're seeing in our community this happen more and more, not only here at home, but also across the nation. In fact, this news is starting to play out as I'm looking to see what is being reported out. The nation is now watching this and aware of what's happening as other outlets across the country are starting to report, unfortunately, what we're dealing with here at home. You mentioned that all the people that you saw coming out earlier, you said that some of them, in fact, looked distraught. Were you able to talk to any one of them? And if you were, can you kind of relate to us kind of the sentiment that you're hearing from the folks who were able to escape this horrible situation?
Unfortunately, I did not get the chance to speak with them directly. I did kind of, as soon as we got here, just like after 10 in the morning, we saw just a lot of people just being evacuated from the building, just swarms of people just walking just right behind me towards this parking garage right here to my left. They were just all being kind of congregated in this area, and then we were actually, all the media was actually told to move to the opposite side, and in that time, it looks like a lot of them kind of were transferred over to Red Rock Casino, but just the look on their faces, I saw some people crying, just like you saw this woman right here earlier. Again, we don't know how she is tied to this, but you can see the distress on her face. A lot of these people just were in that building. Again, that is not just a law firm back there. There are several businesses in there who people work there with windows. A lot of them were saying there's 5, 6, 7 floors in that building. So we are not sure if they all worked in that law firm, but a lot of them were just in distress. Some people were crying, but I talked to people who worked in the opposite building just across the street, and they told me that they were scared because they again didn't know if it was like a mass shooting or not, or if there was other suspects, because the news is still breaking. But the police officers has confirmed that just 2 people have died in that building, and the suspect as well killed himself, and that there was no further threats. But we're going to see if we can try and catch up to that woman, or try to catch up to anyone else who was working in this building.
All right, George Acosta there for us on the scene. George, thank you for your reporting. And you heard him say that some people have been taken over to Red Rock, and there is a number for you to call if you have a loved one who perhaps works in this area and you're concerned about them. You can call 702-455-AIDE. They're urging everyone not to call 911, but to call that number instead. That is where they are sending all victims. They have victim services activated, and unfortunately, they know all too well how to work these incidents, because we've seen them all too often. Our Denise Roche is also at that scene. She has a different vantage point from George Acosta. Denise, go ahead and tell us what you're learning at this hour.
Well, Latoya, security here at Red Rock had been directing traffic through their parking lot, but I can tell you literally moments ago, Pavilion Center reopened, heading southbound from Charleston. You can see traffic once again flowing through. Obviously, cars cannot turn into the building where this happened, but Pavilion is back open. Still, police are urging, if you can avoid this area, still continue to do so. They have a number of their officers here. Fire is still here. But I just wanted to give you that quick update that Pavilion right here at Griffith Peak has since reopened.
Right, so we are making progress, at least on that end, and a very busy corridors. A lot of people work and live near that area. Denise, we thank you for your reporting. And again, I want to just reiterate, if you do have a loved one, we know that a lot of us are connected in this community and you're concerned about them, to call 702-455-AIDE. As we heard from our George Acosta, a lot of people distraught, and we can certainly understand why. He also mentioned how this is a 6-story building, not just the law office where the shooting happened, but of course, a number of people work there. Police were telling us earlier that they have evacuated people by the hundreds. They're also going floor by floor. We don't know how much of progress they've made since the last time we've reported that to you. But again, they're still trying to get people, by all accounts, out of the building safety and letting them know that they are in fact safe. Now, a number of people have turned to social media, including some very prominent people, people that are elected officials in our area, to speak out about this tragedy. Let's go ahead now and turn over to our Evan Schreiber, who has a look at what's happening on social media.
Yeah, well, let's start right now with our Nevada Congresswoman Susie Lee putting out this on social media, talking about the horrible news coming out of Summerlin this morning, saying she's grateful for the actions of first responders to prevent further harm, and her heart is with the families of the victims here. Our Nevada Attorney General even putting this out on social media, quote tweeting me here, that our hearts are with the victims and their families in the aftermath of this tragedy, thanking Las Vegas Metro Police and the first responders for their quick actions today. You heard George Acosta talking about all the people in the building. We're seeing some of the images on social media of people from that vantage point high above as officers swarmed that location earlier today, and people reacting to some of these videos being put out about how it's just awful where it is right now, the building across from City National Arena. That's the practice facility for our Vegas Golden Knights, talking about that there at Red Rock Resort. So, I mean, it's a little further away than that, but you talked about Denise Roche putting out the alert that Pavilion is open right now. All roads in that area, as they've now focused their investigation on that building and building that investigation and trying to gather more information. But what Metro Police are saying this morning, and what we continue to reiterate here, that there is no active threat to public safety. They believe everyone involved here, at least the suspected shooter, was killed there, shot and killed themselves. So we're keeping watch of all the activity on social media, some of the images pouring in, keeping watch of the reaction, as well as our George Acosta posted the swarms of people coming out of that building right now as we're keeping watch of the investigation. Multiple live angles to keep you posted here this morning, and watching also on social media some of the activity and the heartwarming messages coming out. We're going to send it right over to break. We'll be right back with more news after this.
If you're just joining us, we've been following breaking news out of Summerlin all morning long, and our Dana Wagner has been on the scene there at Pavilion in Charleston, where all of this has unfolded with 3 deceased, including the shooter. Dana, what can you tell us?
So we're here at the scene just in front of the City National Bank building at Pavilion in Charleston. It's not quite back to normal, but pretty close. When we arrived at the scene about an hour ago, there were some 30 to 40 emergency vehicles on scene. Now we count 5 Metro Police officer units here on scene. Traffic is flowing on Charleston now. It is also flowing on Pavilion Center as well. And I've heard from numerous sources today, this was part of a deposition inside the Prince Law Group office, which is located inside the City National Bank building here in Summerlin. We understand that the 2 men that were shot and killed here, one taking his own life, are both lawyers here. We're not going to give the names right now, but it did happen inside that law office, and this has been a child custody battle that's been going on for several years. We have some sort of a beef here on Pavilion Center to no avail. But we understand that this has been going on for years, that it has been an ugly child custody battle, and that it ended today in gunfire with 3 people dead, including 2 prominent attorneys in our community and a female victim as well. So that's what we know from the scene right now, Latoya, and I'm sure we'll be reporting on much more of this in later editions of News 3, so stick with us.
That's right. We'll be following this on air and online all day today. And thank you, Dana, for your reporting there. And as you heard him say, this is a situation where we have people, multiple fatalities here, a man and a woman, and a gunman also who police say shot and killed himself after killing that man and woman. And Dana's reporting telling us this is a custody dispute. Now, this is a live look at the scene here. You can see still very much a heavy police presence, and that's for good reason because they still have a lot of work to do. We do know that they're in the process of continuing to clear people out of that building. Again, this is the City National Bank. It's about 6 stories. The law office where this reportedly all went down happened on the 5th floor there. And what we do know is that the suspect in question, who is now deceased, drove to that scene sometime this morning in a car. Police combing through that car as well, trying to figure out everything they can, a possible motive here, trying to see if that person perhaps left a manifesto of some sort or any other evidence that can shed more light on what is happening. But certainly a very tragic situation unfolding in our valley today. We've seen this play out way too often, where someone has decided to settle a dispute, according to police, with gunfire, and it has sadly taken the lives of 2 people. And so our thoughts go out to their family and friends who undoubtedly are learning that very tough, heartbreaking news, but it's also heartbreaking for those who are simply watching it all play out. Of course, we'll be here every step of the way as we continue to learn more about it. We will see you today at 3 o'clock.